Good afternoon. We're here with Art Smith in his apartment in downtown Arnprior Seniors apartment building, and we're going to talk about the universal tax cut. So Art, I guess it was a couple months ago, you and I had a lengthy conversation about the cost of living and how difficult it is for seniors in general to keep up. And this week, you've been paying attention in the news. I know you were talking about the price of gas.
Yeah,
but did you hear about our universal tax cut?
No.
Okay, so it hasn't happened yet, but the leader of our Conservative Party, Andrew Scheer, announced earlier this week that if elected, we will reduce the rate of taxation of the lowest tax bracket. So it would go from 15% to 13.5% in a graduated fashion. So what that means is the people with the lowest incomes who pay taxes, be it pensioners, people who are minimum wage, they will be the largest beneficiaries. Proportionally, they will save the most taxes, but universal. So that means all the higher tax brackets will save a bit as well. And so depending on, I think it's a few $100s a year. It's a start, but how do you think that would help out?
Well, I'm sure in this day and age, anything helps out.
Right.
Really and truly, I think.
Yeah.
In my case, I just have the one thing coming, the two things, the old age pension and the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, that is all I have at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have anything else to go with it rather than that. But it's every little bit helps.
So it works out to be about $440 a person, and then about $850 a couple.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of help.
Oh yeah, that would help. That would help the both of us together too.
Yeah.
Now Sheila is still working.
Right. So she's going to save as well.
Yeah, she's going to work. Save most of it.
So you've got your pension income, and Sheila's got her work income, so everybody gets to save on that. That's why they call it universal.
Yeah.
Now you had mentioned the price of gas, and had I seen the good news and the bad news overnight. And yes, so we're expecting a spike in gas prices. We got a little bit of good news on that.
Yeah.
And the good news that one of the first promises Andrew Scheer made is that upon being elected, we would repeal, cancel, end the carbon tax, because it does nothing for the environment, and we would be replacing it with strict emissions limits. The main difference between what's in place right now and what our proposal is that right now you pay all the fines. Well, no, they're not even fines. You pay for permission to pollute, so it does nothing for the environment. So you pay for permission to the government, and then the government takes that money and then goes through the meat grinder, and they've got their level that gets skimmed off. And then what's left, they pick and choose which companies or individuals are going to receive that money.
Yeah.
With our plan, you keep that money if you're a company, but you are required to use it for technology that will reduce emissions. So if you want to be in business, you have to reduce those emissions.
Yes.
But we're leaving you with your money to do it with.
Yeah.
So no picking and choosing.
So one whole group, everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between us and them. We believe that the money is better kept in the individual's pocket, and ensuring that the companies that are required to reduce emissions have access to the cash to do so.
Yeah. It helps more people in the long run.
That's right.
That's right.
Now, some people have the heating included in their rent, but if you were in a house, we also are going to implement the cut to the GST portion of the bill that you pay for heating. So home heating will have the GST portion, which is 5%. So we're getting rid of the carbon tax, and that's scheduled to go up and up and up every year. And then, heaven forbid, we don't win the election, then it would skyrocket after that, because the UN wants us to be paying $300 a ton instead of what we're paying right now. So that's a guaranteed surety. So we get rid of that, and plus, take that off your heating bill, plus take another 5% off. But the beauty being that you've got that money in your pocket and some extra breathing room. You mentioned it was so hard to get ahead or keep up.
It was.
Yeah, so this will give more breathing room to get ahead.
Yeah, it certainly will. Yeah, because like my occasion right now, it's not bad. My wife's working, but if she had to get laid off, you know, she's getting older too, and she's got problems and everything. If the both of us were laid off, and we both just had our 2 pensions, whatever, we would never be able to do it. Really and truly, and pay for this and all the rest of the stuff.
Right.
So that's the thing we have to watch for.
And prices keep on going up and up and up, not just the gasoline prices that you referred to, but because fuel is required to deliver the vegetables, our meat, everything we buy, all our services have a component to them involving transportation. The price of everything has gone up.
Someplace there's a tax in them too.
That's right. Now the Stats Canada had a report last month, and they said that the price of some vegetables has gone up by 19% in the last year, and that's since we implemented, or they implemented the carbon tax here in Ontario.
Yeah, no, it's amazing what's happening. And the other thing that I can't understand is we say, with the government right now that we have, we look at it and we say, well, how come we can't do this or that? And we look the next day in the news, and he's sending $10 billion someplace that's not even in here in this country. We don't have a nickel out of it.
No, but the nickel came out of your pocket.
Damn right it did, yes, it came out of us.
So when we just got here, we were talking about people who are still in their homes, seniors in their homes, and there's an actual document that is part of the Liberal policy, and that is that when we have to figure out how they're going to pay for all these billions of dollars of promises. Well, it sounds like part of the way they're going to extract the money to do all these things they're promising is to apply capital gains tax to your home. So you recently transitioned from a house to an apartment, but you have probably many other friends who are still in a home and have to either go to an apartment or would like to go to an apartment where you don't have to take care of the grass and everything else, or go to assisted living or long-term care. How would having less lump sum from the sale of your family home to go to a place where you're retiring, how would having to pay tax on that impact your quality of life for your friends?
For us, you mean?
Well, for people who are selling their homes and then have to pay tax to the government on the sale of the home.
Yes.
Because so far that's been a sacred trust.
Yeah.
We pay the mortgage interest rate, but unlike other countries, we don't get a tax deduction for paying that mortgage.
No.
So here we are, all these decades, been pouring money into our homes because it is the best investment a family can make. Renovations, and in the hopes that when they go to sell and either downsize or go to assisted living, or if they have to go to long-term care, that they've got an income for the rest of their lives. So if a slice is being taken off that, it's like changing the rules of a game while the game is already in play.
Yeah.
So how would that impact the people you know who are getting to that stage of life?
Well, like we have, at our age, we have a number of our friends and relatives that you're right, they do have their homes. Now, we've had a lot of them in to visit us lately, and the amazing part of it is some of them they would like to do this,
Mm-hmm.
but they really not sure what's going to happen. Which way is, where they're going to get caught the most? By getting rid of their houses, they're going to help them to do this. By getting rid of this, is it's going to help them because they got rid of their house. They just don't know what to do. They really and truly don't know.
So if they get to the point where they just can't take care of a house anymore for whatever reason, and they have to retire, so
Yeah.
they're going to a fixed income,
Yeah.
what is their biggest worry?
If they have to do that? One thing first of all is they have to go to their house somehow. By doing that, today, the way things are going with the government today, and really and truly, they just got you where they want you. They can just do whatever they want to take more off your house when it goes, and you're not going to get nothing back. You still have to have someplace to live.
Right.
I don't care where you go. For myself, I'm old enough that if I had to, and I do have a medical problem right now, and if I had to go someplace to stay like a hospital or something, that's going to cost me a fortune too.
Why would it cost you a fortune? We have universal health care. We have OHIP. You shouldn't have to pay money to go into the hospital. What is
To go
going
to
to
the hospital, but to go to stay, like if I was to go to one of these homes where my wife can't handle me, okay, she can't do it, she has to go someplace. I won't go to the hospital because you only go there for a certain time. They'll put you into one of these places where, yes, they're all old people in there and they've got, the people look at, but boy, I don't think I have enough money to do it, to cover it.
You mean to
From
stay
what
there
I have right now.
forever?
No,
Like,
yeah.
right, even, or just a short period of time?
Well, in my case, it would be forever.
Okay, but you have a pension coming in, so.
No, I just have the Canada pension, and and the old age pension. The two of them, and I don't mind telling you, mine, a little over $1,300 a month.
And,
That's exactly what I've got, nothing else, no more coming in.
and what would it cost to stay in one of these homes? I
Well,
thought the
this-
government covered that.
Not that I know of. I know people here that are trying to get something out of it that says we can't go because we can't afford to go to that place. We have to pay to get in there. And they have, like in my case, they would probably take the majority of the money that I'm getting right now, the $1,300+ that I'm getting,
Right.
and they take it and it's theirs. This goes in there to look after me for the rest of my life.
But and you have nothing left over.
Not a thing.
They take everything.
I take everything, gone.
Okay, you had mentioned medicine again. Once you're 65, and I think you're 65 or older.
I will be, right at the moment, I'm 78, I'll be
Okay.
79 in 2 months.
Oh, okay. So hopefully you'll get a birthday wish on October 21st. But you mentioned you have to pay for medicine, but OHIP takes care of medicine for people age 65 and over. So why would you have to pay money for medicine?
Well, right now, I have got the medicine I have because of what I have. It's in 3 stages. The first stage that I got, I didn't have to pay for it. The new stage that I just got to replace that because that one's gone and it's letting me, I have to have this other one. I have to pay 15% of whatever that medication is costing me. For an example, they put me on a test on this. They give me 35 pills.
Mm-hmm.
And 35 pills were worth $70 some dollars for the 35. I had to pay $15 on that to get it. Now, $15 is nothing right now, but that's on only 35 pills to test them to see if they're going to work.
I see.
Now, if the next session is one goes in, and you know yourself when you're going to get pills, usually you'll get 80, 90, 100 pills. So it's going to bring that up that I'm going to probably pay, more than the $15. I'm going to have to pay $30 or whatever on top of it. Now, if I'm in one of these houses where they've already taken all my money to get me there, where am I gonna get the $30 to do it?
What about, there are provincial programs, I know in Ontario they have the Trillium program. Does that cover anything?
Well, to be honest with you, all of that, I really don't know, because I know that they're out there, but I haven't went to look for it, because my family tell me that regardless of what happens, I'm not gonna go to one of these places, they're gonna look after me. So I haven't really, got myself into a situation where I'm looking at that.
Well, they're saying in the news that there's quite a waiting line as well.
You're damn
So
right.
you'll be lucky, or you are lucky that you have a family who will take you in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and at my age, my next step is, like I say, I'll be 79 in November. My next stage is I'd love to be in the shape I am now. As you know, I've got dementia, okay, and dementia, up until some of the stuff I'm going, dementia, there's no such a thing as any cure for it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is eventually death.
Mm-hmm.
And for older people, we all gonna die anyway, but it's for older people, and I kinda like to live a few more years. I'm not really ready for it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my wife when I first got this, I come down and sat with her. I didn't realize what dementia was now. Years ago, you might see 1 or 2 people in a whole 1,000 people, or 100,000 people that you were in, that had it. Now, whether it was because they didn't know what it was or nothing, this is starting to be the big thing, dementia. This is taking over where cancer has sort of slipped away. Now, you know yourself, if you were near back in cancer, I was old enough to see cancer at one time that they said there was no cure for it. They did, they cured it. They're working on this one, the ones I have, the ones that I got from my doctor. He was not really up about giving them to me. It was my thing. I had to sign for it because he said they're new. They're one of 3 things. They're real good for you, they're no good for you, or it'll just kill you quicker. One or the other.
Well, so you're doing something that
So I
may
sat
help
on
other
that.
people too.
That's right. I sat down with my wife and I told her, I'm taking it. I'm going to fight this.
Well, you'll always need a fighter, Art. I'm just glad you don't fight with me.
That's right. No.
Anyhow, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see something in the platform that perhaps will be
Yep.
specific to seniors, but so far, getting rid of the carbon tax,
Yep.
getting rid of the GST portion of your home heating bill, and the universal tax cut are 3 measures that will benefit you.
Yeah. And this is benefiting us too, because the house we had was costing us more than what this is. We had to repair everything, we had to look after everything. Here, we don't. If that stove goes tomorrow, they come in and put a new stove.
Good stuff.
All we have to do is stand it in the way and let them put it in. We don't have to pay for it.
Excellent.
So this means a lot. You know what I mean? People say, oh well, if it goes, it does.
So you've got that security and peace of mind.
That's right, yeah. So we like it here. We I get to sit and watch all the traffic go by in the daytime, and my wife has to go work, but and we've been together now. We're married 54 years. Never fought, never left.
Really?
No.
That's amazing. It's an example to set for the rest
Well,
of us.
I had to run out a few times to bring her back. But no, I didn't do that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Art, for
Yep.
sharing your story and letting us know how the tax or the capital gains tax on somebody's home would affect seniors like yourself, but how the conservative carbon tax, the universal tax cut, and the cut of the GST from the home heating bill will benefit you. And we'll see you maybe on your birthday, maybe November 11th.
Okay, and anytime you want me to go and help you out or anything like that, you know where I am.
Okay, I've got witnesses for that. I'll tell you where my office is later. Okay.
You're somewhere in town here, eh?
Yep, right downtown.
Have you got it up yet?
We sure do. We
Did
opened it last Thursday.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, on John Street. So I'm not sure the number though, But right down on John Street, you'll see the big signs in the windows.
Oh yeah. That's where they were having the movie yesterday.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were having the movie there yesterday.
Did you?
All right, so we'll talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in.